That is our understanding of multipolar world. Regional countries are supposed to solve their regional problems regionally, not globally, without global interference. And they have to be totally free from anyone's influence. So we will never do it. We will continue to develop our relationship, both with India and with China. And well, actually, a couple of weeks ago in Kazan, President Putin had a privilege of welcoming his two good friends, Prime Minister Modi and President Xi. He had very fruitful negotiations with both of them. It was very, very important and very, very pragmatic bilateral meetings. And without any influence from anyone, Prime Minister Modi and President Xi had their own bilateral meeting, free of any influence from outside. This is what we call multilateral, multipolar world. Thank you.
Yeah.
So I
Just a
think,
follow-up
hi.
question, Olga. Just a follow-up question on this Ukraine.
And especially when those efforts are coming from our great friends like India. In that sense, President Putin do value efforts that are being done by Prime Minister Modi, and he is really thankful to Prime Minister Modi. And Russia is open for any initiative that will be able to contribute in settlement.
Gazala Wahab.
Union of the countries that share the same values vis-à-vis international order and vis-à-vis international relationship. Because BRICS does not have any signs of fixed organization. BRICS does not have a charter, for example, does not have any common documents that organizes the structure of any secretariat or permanent organs. So it is based on a more concrete, more important, I think, element, is a unity of vision of the nature of international relationship. And the countries that think that taking part in this union will correspond with their national interest, they do it. They do it and they take advantage of that. Every country is trying to take advantage for its own sake, for its own national interests. Besides, of course, every country has a sovereign right to maintain relationship with other organizations in other directions and with third countries. It's untakeable part of every country. Listen, we have no doubt that India respects Russia and India values cooperation with Russia. But at the same time, we understand pretty well that India is a sovereign country. There's quite a few countries in this world that can afford to be sovereign, actually. India is a sovereign country. So India is searching for benefits in every possible direction, and we understand that. And we understand that Russia is not the only partner of India. And at the same time, India is not the only partner for Russia. We have lots of other countries that we value a relationship with, and so on and so forth. So, but we have, at the same time, we have a joint ground. We have a joint ground in some understanding, in understanding of BRICS, of nature of BRICS, and we will continue doing that. Yes, there are certain countries that have problems between them, and they are sitting at the same table of BRICS summits. And we hope this will continue in future. And at the end, atmosphere of BRICS, atmosphere of mutual understanding and mutual respect will contribute in settlement of the problems of those countries participating. It's very important. It's very important in our understanding. And we do find a potential future of BRICS very, very bright. And the best proof of that is a great interest of lots and lots of tens and tens of countries that are addressing BRICS with a request to be a part of the process. So yes, right now we are a little bit far away from a possibility of making any joint free trade agreements. But Russia is a part of different integration processes on this pace of a ex-Soviet Union. So we have our Eurasian Economic Cooperation Organization and so on and so forth. So it's a multipolar world that we are looking at. And these are the signs of multipolar world. Every country is sovereign. Every country is doing what is more beneficial for it, that is more advantageous for it. And every country is to make friendship and to cooperate with those whom they presume to be necessary for them, not by fulfilling the order of a third country. I will openly name it, to fulfilling the order of the United States. Well, you know that, for example, yes, we are increasing our cooperation in various fields, and we know pretty well, and we understand it, that India is facing unprecedented pressure, unprecedented, sometimes unpardonable pressure, coming from the United States. United States are trying to dictate to Indian banks what to do and what not to do. Isn't it an attempt to introduce a new colonial system or not? You tell me. We think it is. We think it is. And but jointly, I have no doubt we will get rid of those unpardonable pressure attempts. Thank you.
We have ANI, Naveen Kapoor, ANI.
Hello, sir. Naveen Kapoor from ANI. Sir, you partially answered my question, which I'll be asking. Sir, is there any initiative separately going on between India, Russia, and Ukraine? Like, are you accepting India's mediation in this? Can you give me some more clarity? And secondly, I just want to ask, is Russia playing any role in easing the tensions between India and China? Because just ahead of the Kazan meeting, we saw some kind of a closeness building up between India and China.
Starting from the end of your question, I repeat, we are glad that two leaders, leader of India and leader of China, had a possibility to use a soil of Kazan city of Russia to have their bilateral meeting. And there was really good news for everyone in the world. But again, it was a bilateral initiative by India and China without any interference coming from abroad, from us. So we were just organizers of that summit, and we were trying to ensure that our dear guests like India and China are enjoying the best possible infrastructure and environment. So, and I hope that our guests were satisfied. Besides that, we don't have any role. We don't have any role. But of course, being a friend of New Delhi and a friend of Beijing, we are ready to contribute in every possible and every demanded way to normalizations between relationship between our two friends. Yes, and so about possible mediation between Mr. Modi between Russia and Ukraine. So we don't have any specific plan, any concrete plan. I mean, from A to Z on the agenda, on a table of negotiations. But we know that Mr. Modi is well. Of course, he's got a very special, very pragmatic relationship with our President Putin. And that he's also he maintains contacts with the Ukrainian side, so at least he's able to receive information from first hands. It's very important. It's very important, and thus it gives Prime Minister Modi a possibility to evaluate situation objectively, not under a informational or propaganda pressure coming from outside.
Thank you. So,
Well, I hope I hope soon we'll work out the precise dates of his visit. But you know that our leaders are exchanging visits. So, and of course, after two visits of Prime Minister Modi to Russia, now we have a visit of President Putin to India. So we're looking forward for it. We'll start very precise preparations for the visit. We attach a very great importance to this context. Right now, I don't have any specific dates.
thank you. Mr. Rishab Gulati.
President's office are part of a spokesperson's press pool that can speak English? How do we go about interacting with them? How can we actually get interviews on subjects as required in the Indian press?
It's a very good question. Thank you for that. Well, actually, you know, there's a great problem. We don't have any single Indian journalist accredited in Moscow, working in Moscow. I have tons of journalists from the United States, from France, from Great Britain. They're calling my office 10 times a day. They're asking questions 10 times a day, every day and night. They're trying to confirm, to reconfirm various information and all that stuff. But we are in a permanent contact with them because this is our job. We are at their service. And we'll be glad if we will be at your service because this is our job. So my office, everyone speaks English. Office of my colleague in the foreign ministry, everyone speaks English there. And of course, we'll be welcoming. We'll be very glad to receive questions, to receive calls from our Indian friends. Especially using, for example, your dialogue with RIA Novosti. And RIA Novosti, I have no doubt, will be able to facilitate your contacts with the Russian counterparts.
Thank you, Mr. Peskov. Suhasini,
Well, there are some problems still on the agenda in terms of economic cooperation, and to great extent, there's difficulties. Those problems are interconnected with the pressure coming from the United States, the pressure over India, from the Indian authorities. We understand that of course in a current economic system, global, it is very hard to withstand this pressure. But nonetheless, we are ready to search together with our Indian friends ways to overcome this illegal pressure to the benefit of our companies, Indian companies and Russian companies. And we have no doubt that jointly we will be able to find a solution. This is number one. Number two, our military cooperation. Well, first of all, it's a good sign of a special character of our bilateral relations, because only countries that are quite close to each other in their bilateral relations can be in such a deep military interaction. Of course, we're speaking about very sophisticated systems, high technologies. Every country is looking for the best, for cheaper prices. I'm not a specialist, and it's not my field of specialization. But I have no doubt insisting that our production in that field is the best, and that our production is for affordable prices. So we understand pretty well that India is looking in every possible destination that they purchase the best for better prices. So our production is highly competitive, and we have no doubt that we provide our Indian friends with the best possible technology. Besides that, we have joint production, joint projects in these fields, and we hope that those projects will find their continuation. Delays, we mentioned delays. I don't know the details, unfortunately. We have to speak about every concrete case in that sense. Well, sometimes it happens. Sometimes it happens. But I repeat, as a result, India is getting the best for a best possible price.
Thank you. Some more questions.
Number one, we have an agreement of agreement between Korea and the Russian Federation of cooperation, of partnership, and so on and so forth. And there is a fourth article of this statement mentioning a possibility and necessity of each country extending help in case of aggression coming from outside. So we will be ready to assist our Korean friends defending their interests should they be a subject of aggression, and they're ready to do the same with us. So it's a mutual help, mutual benefits for the sake of the people of two countries. It's quite a normal practice in international relationship to have these kind of agreements between countries that shares quite a long joint border. You know that Korea is our very, very close neighbor. This is number one. So of course, under the statements of the mentioned agreement, we are determined to develop our bilateral relationship with Korea in every possible field. In every possible field. And about Korean military on our territory, it's rather a question for our military, for our defense ministry. We're trying not to speak about issues directly linked to military action, because this is not our field of specialization. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Sudhakar, please, PTI.
Yeah, 1000th day since the war erupted, exactly 1000 days. So I want your response, not as a Kremlin spokesperson, but as a peace-loving Russian citizen. When do you think can you expect an early end to the war?
Well, I mentioned already, when it all started, it started against Kiev regime. And now it's continuing as a war between Russia and NATO countries. That's why it took a little bit longer, and it will take a little bit longer. I don't think it's possible to answer the question when can it end, when it can come to an end. But the only thing I can tell you, it will come to an end as soon as we reach our goals. We preferably want to reach our goals under and as a result of peaceful diplomatic negotiations. But you know that Kiev regime is denying a possibility of negotiations with Russia. And there was a special presidential decree by President Zelensky forbidding any president of Ukraine any negotiations with the Russians. Isn't it a problem? It is. So that's why we're continuing military operation, because a possibility of peaceful negotiations is now being denied, both by Kiev and their, the rulers in Washington. This is very sincere.
Thank you, Mr. Peskov. Abhishek,
Just that have just been announced by Kremlin?
First of all, why it was necessary? It was necessary in order to adapt, to ensure an adaptation of our nuclear vision into realities of the modern day. What is the most striking example of the realities of the modern day? authority in the White House in the United States takes a decision to use their weapon, American-produced weapons, against the Russian Federation. It's a striking example of new environment around our country. So, and it makes it necessary for us to to ensure that the conception is updated. So, we needed that update. We ensured it. This is number one. Number two. So just a second, I'll take a text. I have it on my working table. Yeah. Because this is the most important issue for today. And also it's of a great interest for our journalists here in Russia. So Russia actually was treating nuclear arms like a mean of deterring. So it's nuclear deterioration. And the usage of nuclear arms, is the last measure, that no one wants to undertake, actually. And Russia has always been a very responsible country in order to exclude such a threat of using of nuclear arms and to contribute in global peace and stability. So nuclear deterrence is aimed at ensuring the understanding by potential enemy of Russia of inevitability of nuclear answer should they try to make an aggression against Russia. And also there is another very important thing. Should a country attack our country, attack us by conventional weapons, but with the help and assistance by a nuclear state, we will treat it as a joint attack against our country with the relevant consequences. Those are very important messages. But if you take your time and have a look at Kremlin.ru website, Kremlin.ru, there is a full text in English. It's either already there or it will be there in, let's say, in 1 hour. So as soon as you are through with your conference, you will be able to read the full text.
So, Mr. Peskov, thank you. I think one more last question. Yes.
Right now, I will not be able to make any prediction. If he really stands for peace and if he really prepared to extend efforts aimed at the settlement of the crisis, we will welcome that. And our president, I have no doubt, our president will welcome peaceful efforts. But we are pragmatic people. We don't wear pink glasses. And another 2 months we'll be facing very, very known by us administration of Mr. Biden in White House, who are trying to do their best to ensure that the war is continuing. So this is the reality that we're facing right now. Of course, we'll be hoping for the best. But at the same time, whatever happens, we're determined to reach our goals.
So, but what do you think, sir? What made President Zelensky make that statement? I mean, how is he so confident that when Trump takes over, he'll be able to solve this?
Well, I don't know. He said to have had a telephone conversation with President Trump. We don't know. Maybe they discussed something in concrete, but we know nothing about that.
Maybe Musk has a solution.
Musk, I think. Well, I don't know. Who knows? You know, he's very good in technology. He's one of the best in the world, but I've never heard about his diplomatic capabilities. We'll see.
Yeah.
Mr. Peskov, we are very grateful to you, really very grateful. Sorry, I can't refuse. NDTV, Mr. Ratan Parvach, please. Sorry, one
Please,
more question. NDTV.
What your first reaction? We have just got information that the missiles which are authorized by the Biden administration have actually been used.
Yes, yes, could you repeat that, please?
Yeah, we have just got information that the missiles which have been authorized by the Biden administration have actually been used. Do you have any first-hand information on this? What is your reaction?
I don't have this information, but I have no doubt that our military guys, they're keeping the situation under control. And as soon as we have this information, we'll evaluate the possible response.
And how does Russia plan to repel or counter this? You must have really taken the strategic, impact that it can have on Russia. In fact, you on record say that it may lead to a further escalation of the war, Third World War, as it were. So, where do you see this going?
Well, it's a great mistake to think that any type of missiles can help Ukraine against Russia. So we have uncomparable military potentials, uncomparable might
Do you plan
with
to
Ukraine.
repel in what measure?
In a due measure that is counted a due measure by our commander-in-chief and our president and our military leadership.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Peskov. Just hold on a minute. Mr. Kиселев just wants to tell
Дмитрий
you a
Сергеевич,
few-
огромное спасибо за ваш вклад в наше событие. Но я думаю, что все теперь понимают, что у нас не только лучший в мире президент, но и
Answer your questions and to have a possibility of saying a couple of words to you. It's a very, very, very good and useful beginning by RIA Novosti to arrange this meeting. I hope it will not be a one case happening, but it will become a tradition. It will become a tradition, and that you will be able to create a mechanism of dialogue, of media to media. Thank you all once again. I hope that was not boring for you. I'm sorry for taking plenty of your time. And so I will be ready to join you next time if you invite us. Thank you.